What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy. Welcome back to another FPL video, and today it's the team selection preview series for Game Week 30. So as always, going to let you know how I'm doing in Game Week 29. Obviously the game week isn't quite over yet, so I'll let you know how things are going and then how I'm shaping up for Game Week 30. And this week it's going to mostly revolve around whether I'm free hitting in Game Week 31 or not, how my team is kind of shaping up and what my thoughts are kind of for free hitting in Game Week 31 and kind of against free hitting in Game Week 31. So before we jump into it, just quickly talk about our sponsor. So this video has kindly been sponsored by OneFootball. I've talked about it a lot on this channel. If you've not already tried it out, it's completely free, so no harm in giving it a go and seeing what you think. There's a handy link in the description below if you want to try that out, or you can just search for OneFootball on the Android iOS stores. You can see it on screen here. It's really handy for an FPL manager. You get all your lineup news. So if you're out and about, you can check what's going on there, whether your players are starting or not. Hopefully they'll be starting, obviously, as an FPL manager. And one of the things that I really like on the weekend, and obviously for midweek games as well, is all the live scores coming straight through to my phone. So I don't have to bother checking. If something happens in the league, then the score will come straight through to my phone and I can just check it like that. So there's plenty of other things you can do on the app as well. Make sure to give it a go. Link in the description below, or just search OneFootball on the Android and iOS stores. So here's how I'm doing for Game Week 29 so far. Like I said, the game week's not quite over yet. The Leicester game was played on Monday night against Aston Villa, but there's one more game to come, which is Arsenal away to Manchester City. Obviously that will complete this game. We can also complete the double game week, but I wanted to tell you how I'm doing so far. So I've got 67 points so far, which is pretty decent considering I've had a captain fail so far. Aubameyang did nothing against West Ham. And I'm up to just inside the top 300k, and 4 weeks ago I was just outside the top 1 million, so it's quite a nice rank rise. Obviously the Man City versus Arsenal game will be quite key to whether that stays like that. I don't have Kevin De Bruyne. He missed the first game against Man United. He could be back for Arsenal. Will he get a cameo appearance off the bench, or will he start? We just don't know at the moment. So that'll be interesting to see. And obviously he got 19 points in the reverse fixtures, so something to worry about there. But I also have Aubameyang captain, so if he could at least get up to the kind of scores that Salah and Mane have got so far, then that would be nice. At this point, I think I would literally just take a goal from Aubameyang, another 6 points to add, 8 total, 16 captaincy. It's not great, and obviously I kind of wish I hadn't used that transfer now, but it's a double game week. I'm always going to try and get a double game week captain. So very frustrating that game. He and Arsenal were very poor against West Ham, but I'm overall happy with this week, mostly due to Harvey Barnes getting 19 points against Aston Villa. I watched that game, absolutely incredible. 2 goals, assists, and 3 bonus points. Only really kind of dampened by the fact that Vardy came on for 30 minutes and scored 2 goals himself, and obviously Leicester got the clean sheet as well. The green arrow would be even bigger if those two things hadn't happened, but they did. I can't really complain with 19 points. Bruno Fernandes chipping in with points again. We knew the Liverpool players would be good against Bournemouth, and I kind of tweeted when I put my team out on Twitter on Saturday that I was as worried about Mane not having him as I might have been about not having Kevin De Bruyne. And obviously Mane did outscore Salah again. I've kind of spoken for a few weeks now. If I'd had Salah and Mane, I would have captained Mane because he's lesser owned. And again, that's something I'm going to talk about again in a minute. And then at the back, it was decent enough. I kept, instead of taking a kind of 8-point hit to get De Bruyne, I just played Stevens instead. So that's kind of 10 points. So we'll see how much De Bruyne can kind of beat that by tonight. So I'm quite happy I didn't go with Kevin De Bruyne. There was a bit of noise around him maybe not starting against Man United, and I think sometimes you just have to take that news. And if I already owned him, I definitely would have played him, but happy I didn't bring him in yet. So we'll see what happens against Arsenal. And then Henderson, Egan, double clean sheet against Norwich, which was decent. McCarthy on the bench, I'm not going to beat myself up about that. You cannot predict penalties, and obviously having Henderson 7 points is nice enough anyway, and Bolly chipping in with clean sheet and 2 bonus. So overall, really good week so far. We have kicked on. Let's hope that De Bruyne doesn't hurt that too much on Wednesday, and Aubameyang, fingers crossed, he can at least get 1 goal. Okay, so I'm doing things a little bit differently this week. I've got the whole team up on screen at once because I do want to focus this mostly around whether I'm going to free hit in Game Week 31 or not. And I granted it's Game Week 30, but basically the decision I make this week kind of ties me into whether I'm free hitting in Game Week 31 or not anyway. So that's kind of where my thinking is for this kind of video. Obviously you can see on the bench McCarthy, Stevens, Traore and Taylor. I think Traore I'm kind of done with now. No guarantee he plays each week. I think Jota's a better option anyway, or even maybe double defence. So not looking to go for Traore. I've got 1 free transfer. So in terms of kind of getting someone like Mane in, I would have to take a hit. But I do have a lot of money in the bank, so I am a bit more kind of flexible in that kind of point. And I'm going to just talk about the players that I'm kind of okay with keeping for a little bit, players that I definitely want to get rid of, and ones that I definitely want to keep. So let's start with the Liverpool players. Now, interestingly, the league could be wrapped up even before Liverpool even play again, which would be a bit of an anticlimax, but I'm sure Liverpool fans won't care about that. If Man City were to lose against Arsenal and Burnley, then Liverpool basically would have the title wrapped up. Seems unlikely, I know, but it could happen. Either way, Liverpool win the next 2 games, then they're champions, job done, game over. Now, whether or not they're going to start rotating players too much, I'm not completely convinced they will. They're not just going to spend the next 10 game weeks playing kind of backup players, just letting Salah, Mane and Firmino just kind of, not rot away, but spend loads of time on the bench. But we probably will see their minutes more managed, especially if they're in the Champions League. So keep an eye on the Champions League fixture between Liverpool and Atletico, because if Atletico go through and Liverpool go out, they basically have nothing else to worry about apart from their final league games, in which case you'd expect them to maybe keep playing the likes of Salah or Mane, maybe chase some records, like get over 100 points, golden boot and that kind of thing. So for me, I'm haven't been on double defence for a little while anyway. It is starting to look not quite as good as it was when they were getting like 7-8 clean sheets in a row, of course. And I think Salah and Mane is where I want to go. There's not too many options in midfield around that kind of price, or even lower, that I massively want. So I'm going to look to go to Salah and Mane for blank Gameweek 31, either with free transfers or by using my free hit. If I do it for a kind of free transfer, I have to take a hit. So obviously one is for 4 points, but I could do a Aubameyang to someone like Jota, and that would let me do Traore to Mane. So that would set me up for the double game week. I'd have Mane in, I'd have Jota in, and I wouldn't have a Aubameyang. But there is a kind of maybe a case to keep a Aubameyang, because he has Brighton this week, and after the blank, he has Norwich at home, which is quite a good fixture. It's just whether or not I want to watch Aubameyang too many more times, because it was very tedious watching Arsenal against West Ham. They were really poor, and to be fair, West Ham played well, and that obviously kind of helped Arsenal not do as well as maybe they can. But it was a bit disheartening to watch as an Aubameyang owner, especially given what kind of price he is. And the price is basically what's put us off all season, because he is very consistent, but there's been cheaper players that have also been consistent, and we've pumped the money into midfield. So as this team stands right now, I have Trent Alexander-Arnold and Bolly in defence, who have got double blank game week, or they play in the blank game week, and Taylor on the bench. That's 3 defenders. Salah, McNeil, and then Mane if I bring him in, so I'm up to 6. And then Jimenez, and if I've bought Jota in, then I'm up to 8 already. So I can get 8 players for 1 hit, or 2 hits, sorry, in Game Week 31. And if I want to take a few more hits to get up to 11, I can. And then obviously after the blank game week, I can start concentrating my fixtures on getting the players in that I really want, or have got good fixtures. And if Game Week 37 comes around, which is likely to be the big double game week, then I can use my free hit, not worry what my team kind of looks like, which players I have or haven't got, because I'll be able to absolutely attack that double game week with 11 players who are all got double game weeks and hopefully play in both games. So that's one reason to play the free hit. Obviously, it only take a few hits to kind of get up to 9 or 10 players. And you don't necessarily need 11 in this game week. Obviously, you could go, if you're on free hit, maybe I'd look at Ali or Antonio, but they're not necessarily players that I want longer term. And yes, you'll have some players playing each other. You might have Burnley defenders, Watford attackers, or vice versa. But that happens. You could get attacking points from all of them. You could just hedge your bets and hope that one side gets points and maybe not the other. So it's a difficult choice. One reason to use the free hit in Game Week 31 is if it's going to cost me kind of 8 points to get to 9 or 10 players, then free hit cancels that out. So it's already worth 8 points. Then if I can get up to 11 players, any additional player I get is already kind of 2 points for appearance points, plus whatever they get attacking or defensive wise. It also let me get in the exact players I want. So for example, I've talked a lot of times, I've got Bolly, but I'd probably want Doherty instead, so it let me get him. Could also go for a different player this week. So someone like Marcus Alonso, for example, has been in great form since he's been back in the team. Got Aston Villa up next. Probably not going to go for him if I don't for a hit in 31, because I want to concentrate my transfers on that game week. But he might get a mega score against Aston Villa, so I could potentially go for him. And it's also worth noting, the more kind of blank players that are in your team, the more players you've got that are going to have double game weeks later on. Now, we might not know which week they're going to be in yet, whether it's game week 34, 33, 35, 36, 37, whatever it might be. Those players that have blank game weeks, simple as, they will have a double game week down the line. Unless something weird happens with kind of games getting called off or behind closed doors, and maybe the league gets extended, something like that. But I'm not really worrying about what might happen right now. So that's kind of the reasons for this team kind of using a free hit or not. Obviously, you get the ideal team you want in Game Week 31, regardless of how many matches are playing or how few options there are. It cancels any hits and also lets you kind of attack these games. So it let me maybe get Alonso in. It let me keep Aubameyang for that Norwich game. and then maybe use the money down the line to kind of get a different player in. But it wouldn't mean I don't have Mane this week, and it is Everton away, so it's maybe not the ideal fixture. I think Liverpool can get something there. And the reasons to use the free hit, I'm already kind of up towards 7 or 8 players regardless. And then I could use that free hit in game week 37, which is going to be the big double game week. And, you know, if game week 34 becomes this washout that some people are potentially predicting, saying it's quite unlikely, you know, Planet FPL, Ben Crellin and people like that have been talking about how unlikely it probably is for game week 34 to have no doubles, but it could be, you know, only 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever it might be. And game week 37 is going to be the big one. Now, one of the reasons I have been leaning towards not using the free hit in game week 31, and one of the reasons for that is similar to why I used the bench boost already, is right now we know the lay of the land, we know which players are in form, and we know which kind of players we want right now. In game week 37, that could all change. So, for example, yes, I've not got the ideal game week 31 team, but I've got a pretty good team. And like I said, I can get up for a kind of -8 up to 9 or 10 players. And the only real one I wouldn't have that I would want is Doherty. So for one player, is that worth using a free hit and maybe spending some, some hits to get to that kind of point? And I do think there's some players that are okay to hold on to afterwards. So 3 Liverpool is fine. I think, yes, maybe not 3 Wolves, because we don't know how they're going to react to being back into the Europa League and playing, obviously, in Europe, whether they'll be tired in the league matches, etc. But they are a good team, and I don't think anyone's kind of talking about taking Jimenez out anyway. Having a defender is fine right now as well. They have Bournemouth and then Aston Villa. Maybe, okay, you don't want the third one long term, but that's just one player. Same with Burnley. Like, people telling me you're not going to want Burnley players long term. Well, after the blank, I've got 8 attackers. I can get rid of McNeil or Barnes, whoever it might be. They can go down to a really cheap attacker, like a 4.3 million Hayden. That gives me 1.7 million to spend elsewhere. So I would get rid of both of them. One would go to a cheap midfielder. The other one will go up to a better midfielder, maybe Martial for Man United's good fixtures from game week 32. So that kind of gets rid of that problem. Charlie Taylor is on my bench. He costs 4.2 million. He's essentially the same as when people had Lundstrom at the start of the season. He's just bench fodder. I'll play him in the blank, and I don't have to play him again. He's not getting in the way. All he's doing is letting me spend more money elsewhere. And if I bring in Watford players, you know, they're fighting for their life. They've got good fixtures. I don't think it's the end of the world to hold them. And obviously, triple Liverpool is kind of a no-brainer. The only thing with Liverpool, obviously, because they've not got a blank, they don't have a double game week. So down the line, that'll be a big call to make. Do you get rid of your Liverpool player to bring in a double game week player? So I have been leaning towards not using the free hit. I've been discussing with people on Twitter today about whether it's the right decision or not. And obviously, if I had a wild card, it'd be completely different. I'd probably free hit and then wild card out of that team to start attacking the other fixtures. But right now, I just don't feel like my team has been kind of devastated in order to play for this blank. And I don't know what's going to happen in 6 or 7 game weeks' time when the next kind of lot of doubles come along. And maybe having a free hit to react to that could be good. Now, it may be the case that after the blank, I start loading up on Man United players, I get back some Man City players, whatever it might be, and they have doubles, and I don't actually need to change too much for the free hit in Game Week 37. But that's pretty much the same case now. I don't need to change too much as it is. All it will save me is kind of 4 or 8 points worth of hits. And, you know, a lot of people are saying this blank game week's no good anyway, so why do I need to get 11 players out? So it's a really tough one. I don't know if I've really helped you either way. I've kind of just been, as I do on this video, kind of getting my thoughts out. There's pros and cons to both. And like I said, if you've got a wildcard and bench boost, then you've kind of got a different strategy to take. And obviously, it does depend how your team is. Some people have only got 3 or 4 players for the blank, in which case they're obviously going to free hit, and I probably would in the same situation. But I'm already quite set. I don't know what's going to happen by game week 37. Maybe that free hit will be handy. Whereas right now, it gives me a certain amount of points. I'm just not sure it gives me enough to blow it. So overall, happy enough with the team this week. I think Ings, just to go through some of the players, Ings probably has to go after this game, maybe even before this game if you've got a free transfer. Aubameyang I don't want long term. I just think that money is better spent in midfield. McNeil and Barnes, I will probably bench McNeil if I bring in Mane this week anyway. I would like to get Alonso in this week, but that all depends on the free hit. And Fernandes definitely stays because, like I said, best midfielder in the league right now, so looking good. So let me know in the comments below, if you only had free hit left and you had this team, would you free hit in Game Week 31 or Game Week 37, and why? So that is it for this video. Apologies if I rambled a bit. Obviously, just trying to get all my thoughts out in the open about whether or not to free hit. And I'm still kind of undecided, even though, like I said, I am swaying towards Game Week 31. If you did enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new around here. Leave me any comments below you've got about this team, any questions and stuff like that. I'll be back with the preview tomorrow and then the stream on Thursday, so make sure to check them out. If you haven't already checked out OneFootball, there is a link in the description below. Make sure you click that, take you straight through, completely free. Give it a go, see what you think, and take it from there. Otherwise, I will see you next time. Thanks all.